Hi everyone, I'm Tom and today I'm going to be showing you Midhala, a story-driven dungeon crawl kind of a game in a Viking world. Cooperative, it's got a campaign, it's kind of tower defense-y, and it's on Kickstarter right now. I'll put a link in the description to the campaign page and it'll be in the corner of the screen as well. You can see how to make it happen and get it going, and you can see all of the final stuff as well, because what I have here is a prototype. So things like the minis are here and I can show them off to you, but they are 3D printed, so there'll be a difference of course in their final versions. The standees are just bits of card rather than the actual cardboard things, and because we're from a bird's eye view, I've not put them in the stands, just so we get the best look at them. So what I've got set up here to avoid as many spoilers as possible is Chapter 1, and the game does a great job, even in its prototype form, of jumping you straight into the action through a tutorial. We've got a handy overview of what happens in a round and all the keywords we might come across. But to get us right into it, it starts us in combat. To give a bit of background, centuries ago there was a war. A fallen goddess opened portals into the realms of men, dropping off demons, archdemons, all sorts of nasty things along the way, but the legendary Viking clans of old stepped in to stop Isil, and in the great battle of Midhala, the forces of evil were defeated just barely, and ever since then, the village of Guardians, Midhala, has been established, keeping watch for centuries, until at this point the stories have just become legends. Completing their training, Harkon and Enic have stumbled across an old overgrown pathway and some mystical runes, but we can hear kobold snarls and grunts in the background. So that can jump us straight into where the tutorial drops us off in, combat. So normally there are a few steps before then, there's a handy overview telling you everything you need to know. So here is our map. Here is the gate that we start on. This is the gate that we're defending, and this is the kind of tower defense aspect of the game. There are enemies out there that we need to fight. They will fight us, or they will try and take down traps. They have different priorities based on the kind of enemy that they are. But ultimately, they are trying to destroy this gate, which has 20 health. We don't want them to do that, of course, but in the combat phase, they start. So we activate the tiles in order, and the way that works is we start from the gate, and then you move to adjacent tiles. If you've got a choice, you go clockwise from the top. So we've got a choice here. Clockwise from the top means we go east, and we carry on in that chain until it finishes or splits off again, and we've got to make another decision. So nothing to activate on this tile. Over on this tile, there is a rune golem starting us off. And first things first, they perform a target check. So we can see on the enemy's card, they target traps with the highest HP. And they've got a melee attack because they don't say ranged anywhere, like the archer over here, as you might expect, has got some range. The rune golem does not, and there are no traps to target in his tile. So he can't attack his favourite type, which sucks for him. Can he target the gate? No, because he needs to be on the gate's tile, of course. So he gets to move, and unless we see otherwise, he gets to move one space closer to the gate. So we'll have to move again, but he's getting pretty close now. So we've finished that chain. We can go back to the gate and go in this direction. Nothing to activate here. Only one tile adjacent, so it's going to be the warrior next, the kobold warrior. Wants to target a person, but again is not ranged, so there's nobody to target. Can they target the gate? No, because they have to be on the tile, so they will move one step closer to us. And finally, at the end of this path is the kobold archer, who again wants to target a person, but they can be range 2 away. There's no one within range 2. Line of sight doesn't matter, it's just the range number that matters. So 1, 2, they're not going to attack their mate, so they need to move as well. So not a very interesting turn for the enemies at the start, but this archer is now within 2 of the gate and it can start getting attacked. The archer won't keep coming towards us, it will just keep attacking that gate unless we go give it a telling off. Then traps would activate. There are no traps just yet. And we'll get to that. You can pay to put traps out to stop these enemies as they advance, of course. But then the heroes activate, and you can see our player board here. There are a couple of abilities locked off at the start that are a bit more powerful. And we do get a level 1 upgrade that later on you can choose what you want and gain more upgrades and level up further. There's another side of the player board with even more powerful things on it. But at the start of the game, Harkon here has 6 health. This is your activation token to say whether you've had your turn yet or not. And you've got these 2 markers for these 2 rows of actions. What you need to do is choose something from the top row and something from the bottom row. And in future turns, once these tokens are on your player board, you need to choose something different on each of the rows. And they're going to be resolved in that order as well. Thing on the top, then thing on the bottom. So Harkon has got advance that would let him move 1, or he's got block that would let him move 1 and get some armor. Probably a good thing if he's going to dive into some people. So he'll choose block, and get move 1 and armor 1. And we can give him an armor 1 token to show that. So he's had his armor, but he still needs to move 1. So he could move 1 onto the warrior's space and try to start dealing with him. And he's got some nice powerful attacks, engage for 2 or overpower for 3, and cleave, which is just attack 1. But it happens twice. It's 2 times attack 1. And this is important because the warrior over here has got evasion, and he's got this evasion token on him. That means that he ignores the first attack. So this is the one to pick because the first attack 1 just gets rid of the evasion. The second one gets through. They've all got health based on the player count. So in a 2-player game like this, the warrior had 5 health, has now only got 4. Harkon's done his 2 attacks, and that is going to be it for his turn. And then Enic the herbalist could go, who has, again, some limited abilities at the start, but can heal up at some range as well as do some attacking at the same time if she needs to. So maybe I want to just jump in, move 1 to the warrior, and then attack 2. Move 1, it hasn't got evasion anymore, so it would tick down, and you actually repeat the combat phase until either all the enemies are dead or the game is lost, which we do if the heroes reach 0 HP or the gate reaches 0 HP. Now things have moved though, more things will get to take actions. The poor rune golem here, there's still no traps, still isn't at the gate, so we'd just get to move. The warrior though is in a space with someone. It targets heroes, and if it's targeting heroes, we get to decide who it's going to attack. So Harkon will step in and get in the way. He's getting attacked for 2. He's got this armor 1 that he can lose, so that's 1 taken care of, and the second one will get through. He's lost 1 health, and after its turn, it gets the evasion back. The archer goes, won't need to move because it's within range 2 of us. It will attack us before the gate. And again, we can decide who gets attacked. I think Harkon will step in again, so it's getting attacked for 2. That's the enemy's turn. No traps, so it would go back to heroes again. You get your activation token back, and you can go in any order that you like. So perhaps Enic would like to throw a flask. Spilling out of that flask is some healing potion, which will heal Harkon for 1 at range 1, but it's range 0 because they're on the same tile. And the empty bottle flies straight at the kobold warrior, knocking the evasion off, and could then actually attack for 2, which would defeat the kobold warrior, so it would get removed from the dungeon, for now at least. Could be another one lurking in the shadows. And then Harkon is free to do something else. I think they're going to split up a bit. Harkon is going to go and take on the golem. Attack for 3. The golem has got armor 1, so only take a couple of that damage. And that's their turns over with. It loops back again. The rune golem would start and is now not going to hit the gate because Harkon is there. We'll hit Harkon instead. Now the rune golem's at the gate, and remembering its target information, it only cares about traps with the highest HP. So doesn't care that Harkon is there, is going to attack the gate. And it says attack X. X is 2 against a trap or 1 against the gate. So he's just going to hit the gate no matter what, popping it down to 19. Now the archer has 2 people in range, so we can still decide who he's going to attack. We'll say he's going to attack Harkon. Let's see, this time she's full health. He can attack Enic, putting her down to 3. And then on our turns, Harkon's got to go for the throat ability, one of the special ones that he picked for this scenario, with Pierce on it, which lets him attack 1 plus X. X is the enemy's armor. So it turns into a 2 attack, basically, to get through that armor. But unfortunately, his big, powerful attack overpower is used up from last time. 2 cleaves of attack 1 aren't even going to get through that armor. So he'll have to choose something like engage. It's got 2 attack, but 1 is absorbed by the armor. Enic can take on the archer, advance to move 1, and then engage for attack 2. Take it down a little bit. The rune golem will knock the gate down to 18 health. The archer, let's say he's going to attack Harkon because the golem's not going to hit him. And then on our turns, Enic can do attack 1 and heal 1. Heal herself this time. The empty bottle hits the kobold archer this time. And then engage for attack 2 can defeat him. The rune golem is still here to be dealt with though. Well, quick slash for attack 2 could do a bit against him. And now overpower is available for attack 3. 1, 2 after the armor. So we're getting there. He'd wail on the gate once more. Enic could run back with her sprint, move 2. That's kind of why Harkon didn't go and deal with the archer, because he can only move 1 at a time. Take him ages to get back. And still has engaged to attack for 2 and can do a damage to the golem and go for the throat once more. Can defeat it. So for now, our catacombs, our overgrown paths, are free of enemies. But now we can move on to rewards. So in the rewards phase, you get to choose an ultimate to unlock. Now these ultimates are one-off special abilities. You know, you've got to wait until the reward section again before you can get them back. But a double attack, attack 2 and attack 3. Great, imagine like the warrior, use a little attack to get rid of its evasion and then completely destroy it with the double attack. Or ignore something's armor and then attack for 3. And it could do a massive heal, and then her special Ferndal's boots can ignore armor and attack 3, range anywhere. We'd also get to level up, so you can see these little decks here. The one deck is where our starting abilities came from. We draw these skills up to the number of players +2 and lay them out, and pick one of these skills for our heroes to have. The tokens come off, by the way, so you can choose any action at the start of a future round. So some more healing, some attacking and armor, and repair our traps. Of triple hit or crippling blow can slow the enemy, so it could stop it moving, because something like the golem is just going to move past you and you're going to have to keep walking to it. Something like crippling blow and a decent attack could keep those people in range. So I think Harkon would take crippling blow, Enic would take reinforce for a bit of armor herself, and then we gain 6 silver, which we will use in a minute. But first, we need to explore. That's actually the first phase in a normal round. You choose an unexplored path to explore. The paths are basically where the open letters are. So we've got path B and path H here. Choose one of those paths. We're going for H. And it tells me in my campaign book to place tile 15A and read verse 104. The tiles I have for my prototype anyway are just off here. So I find tile 15A, put it with the number facing the letter. And the verses tell us, you hear the sound of running water ahead of you, and as you step forward, you find a small underground stream crossing the pathway. It shimmers in a faint blue light. Enic smiles, then draws a handful of water and shares a sip with you before drinking the rest. Your body feels refreshed as the sacred water's healing energy slowly mends your wounds. Other than that, however, this way seems to be a dead end, so you'll need to search for your lunch elsewhere. Restore all heroes to full HP. And if you're already at full HP, Harkon resets his other ultimate. So back up to full health. I didn't actually pick, did I? Double attack and piercing attack for sure. Explore further by selecting an unexplored passage. Alright then, I'll move everything. So B says if you have not yet explored H, which we have, read 105. Otherwise, place tile 3A and read verse 107. So 3A goes right there. And our verse. There are some mystic runes scribed onto the walls with a luminescent blue colour. Some of the inscription is overgrown with moss. Enic pulls out a dagger and removes it carefully, trying not to do damage to the runes. It is an ancient reciting of a battle against the archdemon Yarsthorna, the Blood Wolf, and the origins of the village of Midhala. I will need some time to decipher this. While she studies the runes, you find some remains of a kobold encampment in the corner. A quick search confirms your suspicion that there are mostly rags and garbage to be found here. Just as you want to turn away, Tora taps you on the shoulder. Tora's your trainer. And points to a rock formation. They've hidden a scrappy chest there. Want to see what's inside? You walk over and find a half-rotten chest containing a coin purse and some parchment scrolls the kobolds must have taken off a careless traveller. The scrolls detail some devices similar to the defensive structures that are used to defend the gates and passages to Midhala. These could be useful. Gain 6 silver, and we are then given access to the party sheet, where we can start to track traps that we've unlocked. We unlocked the spike and the blade traps at the top there, which there are cards for. And we also unlock Law 1. Now, Law 1 is to do with the Tome of Law, which in my prototype at least is here in the rulebook. And this is something that you can read now and mark it off, or you can read it later, and it gives you some more lore. These are the runes that Enic was just deciphering, and it will give us some more insight into the lands of Fernwest. But a bit more exploration later, and we come across a large chamber with a Wolf Clan Shaman and a Demon Bear inside, and a large portal starts opening up, kobolds pouring out of it. We put a story token up, we run back to ready our defences, which is where the preparation phase and traps come in. There's crossbows, there's blades, there's pits, all sorts of stuff. Using money, we can buy these traps. You can see at level 1, the blade trap costs 4, the spike trap costs 2, and they do different things. Spike trap ignores armor doing 1 damage, the blade trap attacks for 1 damage twice. Now you have to build the traps on fortified tiles, which early on in the game, it's just the 3 that are printed on the main board. You can only have 2 per tile, and they can't be on the gate tile. So I'm thinking, let's go for it. Spike trap, blade trap. The stock tells you how many in total you can have of each trap, and it's got a die of a certain colour. You pop it in the little mini, and that's how much health the trap's got left. So that would cost 6, and hey, we've got the money. Pop another set in for good measure. We then shuffle up all the enemies we were told to set aside at the start of this chapter, including ones we just defeated last time. And we need to spawn enemies for every empty tile. Well, every tile that isn't fortified anyway. So first up, starting tile activation order. Remember here, and then we go clockwise when there's a decision to be made. So we are starting here, but it's fortified. So next one along, our rune golem makes a reappearance. Then out here, we have our kobold warrior sitting on tile 15. And then back on this path, fortified. Out here is a kobold archer that we saw last time, already in range of the gate. A kobold bomber who just wants to target the gate, and when killed does 3 damage on everything in its tile, including other enemies. And a Kobold Spearman, another one with evasion, who if he doesn't get to attack something on his tile, will attack for a lesser amount on an adjacent tile. And finally, the Wraith, who is fast, can still attack after they've moved on a turn. Attacks for 3, and if you take damage from the Wraith, you will retreat 2 back towards the gate. So we'd have all of them to deal with this time. Luckily, we've got some traps to help us deal with that, and some extra abilities we've healed back up. We can position our heroes, so any fortified tiles are a place where we're allowed to start. We don't have to start on this gate. So we might want to get a jump on the Archer, who's already in range of the gate. Maybe we'd want to start working on the Golem, who is going to walk here, and then from next turn start taking down the traps. We could split up and try to do both. I think start working on the Archer, because we could both just move 1 and start getting to him next round. So we would play through the scenario again, and because we have a story marker, if we succeed, of course, we get to read that bit in the story, which for Chapter 1 is an epilogue that basically unlocks the starting characters, of which there are 4, 5 if you've got the expansion. You can play it 5 players. We unlock the Amulet of Ferocity, which can be given to a hero and someone gets Retaliate, does a damage back when they take damage. Like in future chapters, the first one is kind of a tutorial. You start with your ultimates unlocked, so you can use them in the first rounds, and you unlock them as upgrades in between. We unlock components for the traps that can reinforce them and beef them up, unlock more traps, of course. A store unlocks that we can buy items from in between waves. As we win or lose, we will gain favour or displeasure of gods. And we will have big choices to make that we will mark down on that party sheet as well that will affect things as we go into future scenarios. And the characters reset, so you choose level 1, 2, 3 skills as you go along again. You will, spoilers, through story things, you might be able to use like the other sides of the boards with completely different abilities, upgraded things. There are more characters, of course, with their own built-in abilities and pros and cons too. And that is all just from the first 3 chapters of the game, which is what I've got in my prototype here. I'm sure loads more is being cooked up, and you can see it on the campaign page, which again is linked in the description, because this is on Kickstarter right now. You can go there, see how to make it happen, see how you can get hold of a copy for yourself, should you be interested, and yes, see all of the stuff that is planned for the final product. I hope to be back in what I hope is the near future, playing some more for you with the final thing. Really, I just want to be sitting here just doing 3 full chapters of it. Time, getting in the way. But I hope just from this thing, which already I've gone longer than I thought I was going to, just get into playing more than anything. But yeah, you can start to see how the paths get more windy and complex as we explore through. You know, the paths are reset from chapter to chapter. It's not just going to keep sprawling out like this, but we will start out with a predetermined thing, some paths that we can make decisions, choices of how to expand. We'll find different things as we do. We will be asked to make decisions at times, which will have permanent consequences. There'll be elite enemies to fight, bosses that have their own terrifying behaviours to contend with, more traps to unlock, more everything. But yes, the campaign page is there for you to see more, and I hope I am back showing off some more to you one day soon. Thank you very much for watching this. There are more videos on the channel if you would like to see more from me. There is the campaign page linked in the description again, so you can see all of the final stuff. And thank you very much for watching. Bye everyone.